What's going on, guys? Got another video for you all. Yeah, this time around, last video I think I showed you this is how to change cotton, and this time I'm actually going to show you all how to properly fix hotspots and install your coils. So obviously, as you can see, I still have my build in here. It's probably not even a month old, to be honest. I'd honestly use these coils for probably another 2-3 months before I swap them out, but today I figured, you know what, screw it. So obviously what you're gonna need, some toothless pliers, like I showed you from the last video. These things are probably one of the main tools that you're going to use. Obviously going to need some wire cutters. These are CHP 170s. They are by far some of the best wire cutters that I've used. Just to say that again, they are Hakko, H-A-K-K-O, CHP 170s. You can get away with using one screwdriver or whatever you use to wrap with. I use two, just because. And then obviously you're going to need your wire and whatever tool you use to get the screws out from the posts. And since this is a Ruby, it's got an Allen key for the coils. So let's go ahead and remove these now. For the most part, this is actually pretty simple. Take these out. Some people like to save their coils. I used to, but then I kind of stopped because I just stopped caring about them, because I pretty much rarely ever put reused coils back into my RDAs. But alright, so I'm thinking probably a 6 wrap on a 3mm for the Ruby. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, how I wrap mine, it's pretty standard. I do this with every coil. So what I do is I'll hold it like really hard right here. I have a lot of tension towards this is where like the initial lead is. So you want a lot of tension right here, at least for the first couple wraps. That way you can have everything nice and snug. And then once you get to that, what I do is I'll hold onto the screwdriver itself. Like, I don't really know how well you can really see that, but I'll hold it like on the first and second wrap, and then I'll just wrap it between my fingers then, and just go like that. And you want, whenever you're wrapping your coils, you want them to be as close together as possible. And I'm sorry that this doesn't really focus, but it's the best I can work with right now. Some people use coil jigs. I personally don't, because I don't really see the need for it. Right, I got 6 wraps there. Now I could add more, but I kind of just want this to be a little bit more flavor, as well as produce a little bit more clouds. If you want, like, say you're doing tricks or something, you're gonna want an extra couple of wraps so you have more surface area. But personally, I just have enough wraps to where it just slides in the RDA, and that's about it. Now, I normally do like a half wrap, like to where it's a 90-degree angle, something like that. And then I'll take this longer lead, and then I'll bend it up with the toothless pliers. That way it just all slides right in, and it looks all nice and neat and all that stuff. So now you can go ahead and install your first coil. It's not really that hard of a process, to be honest. It's just getting everything initially set up to where you don't really have to fuck with it. And tighten this down. And if you're installing in a like a 4-post RDA, have the wrap that's going over on the furthermost side that you can, instead of having it in the center. Because if you have this, like the one that's going under, like the under wrap, it'll actually choke off the cotton, and it won't be too efficient that way. Right, I'm actually going to install it with this side. Alright. And once you get the first one tightened down, you can kind of let go of your screwdriver and stuff. Alright. Now some people, they'll position it and stuff like that, but what I'm doing now, honestly, is pretty much just placing it. I'm not situating it, I'm not messing with it, I'm just getting it to where I need it to be. That way I can cut off the leads. And how I do that is I'll just stick my finger on the side of it, hold it down, because if you're using these wire cutters, it shoots your leads. Like it'll shoot it across the room, man. So you kind of want to just hold on to those as much as you can. Kind of want that to look a little bit cleaner. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Now you got your first side set up. If you wanted, you could go ahead and pulse this and all that stuff, but you don't really have to. I'm gonna ignore that fucking Facebook message. Oh god. Alright. So you got the first one clipped. It's looking nice and dandy. Still pretty centered. Right now, go ahead and loosen your screws back up. You don't necessarily have to do this. This is just how I do it, especially with 2-post designs. If this was a 4-post, it'd be a lot different, because what I would do is I would leave a big enough room to where I can bend the coil out. That way I can get my wire cutters behind it and I can clip the wire that way. And these are actually really good for that because they're really thin. So, yeah. Alright, you got your first coil. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap the second one. 6 wraps. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, get that little angle thing going, and now we are bending it in, and we are going to install it now. And there was a Facebook message finally showing up on my phone. Hey, you're gonna want the second coil roughly the same position as the last one. That way you've got it nice and even, you know, build. Like I said, it doesn't have to be centered. If you're running a 2-post and you have it to where it slides in, it's gonna automatically be centered, and you won't really have to mess with that. So let's go ahead and tighten this down. Did I put 5 wraps or 6 wraps on that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. I was about to say, this doesn't look like 6 wraps. Alright. Okay. Good enough. If your coils look janky at first, like if there's a lot of gaps in them after you wrap them, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that right now. Okay? Because that's going to be fixed later on. I'm going to show you how to do that. So now we clip the leads again. Clip them as close to the post as you can. That way, everything comes out nice and neat. And you know, whenever you're installing your cotton or changing your cotton, the clapped in wire doesn't exactly come off and make a big mess and stuff like that. Alright. Anyways, this is where I like to have 2 screwdrivers, because what I do now is I'll leave this build on, this coil on, and then I'll unscrew everything, still leaving the coil inside of it. And since this is a 2-post, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first coil and install it underneath the second coil. And by what I mean by that is, I don't really know if you can see it or not, but the leads are actually pointed up. They're pointed up, like they're kind of slanted. So all you gotta do is just stick it in there, and everything should be good to go. But if you're running a build like I have now, it might be a pain in the ass. So I'm gonna take this one out and flatten this other lead, because I think I crushed it a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna install the first one. Let's flatten the leads again, just in case. That way it makes everything a little bit smoother. Because these coils are actually called transformer coils, and they have ribbon wire on the outside of them, so it's kind of annoying to install in like a 2-post. But it'll work. It'll work. I hope, anyways. Alright, we go into there. And we in there, boys. Like a glove, I think. Second coil in there, leads, everything looks good. Alright, now what I like to do, okay. Make sure your leads aren't touching the coil, by the way. That way nothing really shorts out. And if you're using like a bottom airflow like I am, make sure your coils are positioned above the holes, and everything should work out. Like I said, the screwdrivers are pretty much there to make sure everything stays in place, because the weight on them, it holds it like a center of gravity type deal. I don't really know the specifics on that, so if anybody has a question about that, why I do that, don't worry about it. Alright, now you can actually position them how you want. I'm just going to do a little quick thing here. Alright, they should be good now. Let's see if I can position my light here. Focus. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the coils. Nothing too special. It's just 2 basic claptons fused together with ribbon wire. That's all it is. This is probably one of the builds that I have, or that I use occasionally, that generates hotspots pretty frequently whenever you're installing anyway, so I figured that would be a good example to use. Alright, before we do that, let's go ahead and change batteries. That way you got a fresh battery on install. And if you're wondering what I am using, I'm using 25Rs, and this build should amount to around like a 0.14ish, somewhere like that. So it's safe enough for my taste. All right, and now comes the fun part, because all you got to do now is just basically pulse it. Just pulse it. It doesn't. You don't have to get it to hotspot or heat up entirely to where it's red. Not yet, anyways. What I like to do when I'm doing that is I will insert the screwdriver and then just give it a little wiggle. Like, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be too extravagant. After your first initial wiggle or whatever, you'll actually start to see the hot spots develop. As you can see right there at the lead. I'm not going to pulse that much anymore, so I'm actually just going to wiggle it a little bit harder on both sides. I'm going to check that again. Just short pulses. Short pulses. That's all you need. And if it's got like a really hard hot spot, what you can do is you can actually insert your screwdriver and kind of separate that lead or that wrap. That way it kind of smooths out still, and once you get it to start heating up, you just take your toothless pliers and then gently hold them together and go back to pulsing. I'm going to do it a little bit longer, just really short pulses, but enough to get the wire to actually heat up. Because if you get it to heat up, hot spots will go away faster. You don't want to pulse it too much initially, because if you do and you get it too hot, especially with nichrome, you're basically just gonna break the coil. Because I've actually spent about 2.5 hours on a build one time, tried to install it, and then I snapped a lead because I heated it up too much. Heated. Is that a word? Heated. Heat? I don't know. It got hot. Let's just say that it got hot. Should be close to where we want it. Yeah, it's coming. One more go around. Squeeze that one together. Squeeze the bottom side. Right now. Shouldn't be any more hot spots, because as you can see, coils are heating up nice and evenly from the center, which is what you want. And if you're worried about your device getting hot, that's going to happen regardless. It's nothing to do with your batteries or anything like that, so don't even worry about that. All you got to do is just give it a minute and all that good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and look it up, and we'll see what we got here. Do this pretty quick. Oh look, you get to watch me reinstall, like change my cotton again. So if you didn't really watch the last video, there you go. Basically just Scottish fold or Scottish roll. You know how those hipsters do it, because they were actually correct on that. It actually does hold a shit ton more juice, and it hits a lot better in my opinion. You get a more dense draw. And if you're wondering why I'm not using scissors, it's because I'm using regular cotton balls and there's no need for them. Use that. So we get down to the deck. Probably my next video is going to be another method on staggering coils, like staggering claptons and stuff like that. Actually found a new method that works more consistently than the regular loop method, so stay tuned for that one. Holy crap, go in there. Thank you. I don't know, I might do more build tutorials whenever I get the chance. I just don't really have time to really make videos anymore, or do much of anything, to be honest. Alright. And if you're wondering how to make these, like I said, 2 basic claptons. I use 26 gauge for the core. I use 36 gauge for the clapton, and then I used 0.4mm ribbon wire to fuse. You can also use 0.5 or 0.3, whatever you feel like. It really doesn't matter. It's with cotton in it. It looks pretty good. You know, nice and fluffy, like you want it. It's not too entirely flat. You just saturate this bitch up. This is honestly the most annoying part about changing like coils and all that stuff. It's just resaturating everything, man. Pretty ridiculous if you ask me. Because, like I was saying earlier, the Scottish roll method actually holds a lot of juice. And back whenever I used my Hammer of God, I hated changing cotton in that. Simply because every time I did, it would take me a minimum of 10 mils. 10 mils of juice just to saturate. Lighter here. Okay. There we go. Give it another go around. And if you're wondering why I did that, since I'm using organic cotton balls, what that does is actually reduces the break-in time. So you can actually just get right to it instead of having to manually break it in, you know, like burn a shitload of it off, blow it out, and all that stuff, and then resaturate it and all that stuff. Whenever all you gotta do is just saturate it one good time, and then you can start vaping. But yeah, that's it. Pretty tasty for what it is. If you liked the video, if you want to see more like this, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. You can inbox me. You can find me on Instagram, ks.coils. It's whatever, man. You can subscribe. I don't really care. It's all on you. I mean, shit happens. So, yeah, that's that's the video, guys. So you have a good day. Okay, have a great day.